So now, if somebody owes you some money and they're taking you round and they're not paying you that money, what normally happens is you say, "Ai, mimi nitakupeleka mbele." Right? In many cases, unaenda kwa chief, unaenda kwa police station, unasema huyu mtu akona pesa yangu na nirudishie pesa ya nini? Oh, nilikuwa naishi kwa nyumba yake, nilikuwa nimempatia deposit, sasa nimetoka kwa nyumba na nirudishie deposit yangu. Those are issues. Ama nilikuwa nimemkopesha pesa, hajanirudishia. Those are issues. And there are very many of them. And actually, they have been clogging our courts for a while. And I guess that's the wisdom with which the judiciary decided, let's establish a specific court that deals with some of these matters and that can be speeded up in terms of resolution. It's called the Small Claims Court. One of the magistrates in the Small Claims Court is here with us today, Casmir Obiero, magistrate from the Dagoretti Small Claims Court. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
I'm not used to be called Your Honor. Such a place. You want to fix me?
But Your Honor.
Are you not Your Honor?
I am.
Just in court. Just in court.
Yeah, no, just in court.
Your Honor pale kotini.
Kotini.
Lakini Your Honor huyu mtu aliniambia last week. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
We're fixing the nation one conversation at a time, plus one journal's quote at a time. Today's quote, Jano?
Today's quote maybe is in line with what we're discussing. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
Very true.
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
And that's what we face every day in court. A truth will just be seen, and a lie is as white as it is. Yeah.
Okay. We're curious to get into that. People coming with their own truths, which is not necessarily factual. But talk to us about what Small Claims Court is.
Okay. So the Small Claims Court is a specialized commercial court dealing with civil claims. It was established through the Small Claims Act of 2016 that was assented to on 1st of April 2016, and it started being operational on 21st April. But the first Small Claims Court was formed at Milimani Small Claims Court, and it started its work in 2021, April. So we deal with claims that are limited to 1 million Kenya shillings. So it is just to spur economic activity at the lower level. You know, this is where we have so many disputes, 1 million shillings and below. So our jurisdiction basically is on matters to do with civil claims related to contracts for supply of goods and services, liability in tort for maybe to property, movable property, but remember it's 1 million shillings, and then personal injury, and then there is money held and received. I heard him talking about rent and deposits. There is a specialized court for rent.
Oh,
CE.
Which one is for rent?
For rent, it's called RRT, Rent Restriction Tribunal.
I see.
So nothing to do with small claims. This is separate.
That's separate.
Interesting.
But you get so many cases, deposits. Those are the most common ones. But you normally send them to the Rent Restriction Tribunal. You can also get people coming with land issues that are below 1 million. But now there is a specialized court for land, Environment and Land Court.
How many specialized courts are there, or will be here?
There are several. There are several.
Okay.
But as far as small claims courts are concerned, in Kenya we have 40. And mine is the newest and youngest, Dagoretti Small Claims Court. We are spread out in 33 counties. So far, 14 counties do not have small claims court. But I'm sure there are plans to establish small claims court. But the judiciary has tried to establish small claims court in almost all border towns, because that's where there are these transactions, daily transactions, that are small claims in nature.
Okay, now back to the jurisdiction. A lot of small claims are also of contractual issues, employment.
Yes.
So does that go to the Employment and Labor Relations Court? Does it come to you?
Yeah, matters to do with employment, again, there is a specialized court. Employment and Labor Relations.
So I can, what about, so it may not be employment, but it's contractual.
Yeah, if it is contractual, we have jurisdiction.
Okay.
We have jurisdiction.
So if it's an employer-employee relationship, you go to the Employment and
Labor Relations Court.
So, but if there's a contract, even verbal, but not an employment one, and I was to give you a service for X amount of money and you didn't pay me, I come to
Yes, to the small claims court.
Okay.
And we resolve it within 60 days.
60 days.
And it's done.
And you need a lawyer or not necessarily?
No, you don't necessarily need a lawyer. And you can also even have a representative who is not a lawyer. It could be your brother, it could be your personal friend, but you give him authority through writing. So you can represent yourself, you can be represented by a lawyer or a representative. And then when you are filing your claim, it's not a must that you don't follow the strict procedure. You can even write a letter, go to court, an officer of the court will assist you to fill in a prescribed form. Or you can even go to court verbally, and then you'll be assisted to fill in a prescribed form. So it is that simple.
You try to make it as simple as possible, because I'm sure there's a backlog of cases now.
Yes.
There's several that you deal with in a day.
Okay.
I'm looking, we have a girl called Jackie.
Yes.
She does our research for us. And the number of cases that were filed in the small claims court in 2023-2024 was 41,524, out of which 33,527 had been resolved by the end of that year.
Yes.
And those had gone beyond 60 days or 14,642. Okay?
Yes.
And so with a backlog of 5,019. Now, when we say that these cases must be resolved within 60 days, this is putting a lot of pressure on the judicial officer, on the magistrate.
Yes, that is
because I'm
very
looking at
true.
41,000 cases filed in 40 courts, and all of them must be a case. It begins today. It must be done within 60 days.
Apparently, that is a major challenge you're having in the small claims court. So many claims have been filed, but we lack enough judicial officers. For instance, in the whole country, we are 73 who deal with the small claims court. While in the small claims court, we are referred to as adjudicators. So we have 73 adjudicators. In Dagoretti, I'm alone. At Milimani Small Claims Court, which has a high number of cases, there are only 13. For instance, the active cases at Milimani Small Claims Court, as at now, it's around 9,800 to be dealt with by 13 individuals.
Wow.
So it becomes a bit difficult to attain the 60-day statutory timeline. But we are trying. We're trying our best.
So what happens? How do you prioritize which cases you finish with, and how do you prioritize? How do you downgrade one?
Okay, you deal from case-to-case basis, and it goes to litigants themselves, advocates, and the different stakeholders. For instance, we normally try as much as possible to avoid adjournments so that we deal with a case. On the day it comes, you deal with it. Adjourning just delays them. Then we also have an issue of bringing complex matters in small claims court. You know, the pecuniary jurisdiction is 1 million, but you can get a case of 900,000, but it's very complex with several parties. So we normally advise our litigants that we keep it simple, and we try as much as possible not to adjourn. Section 30 of the Act also...
Mimi, hakuna case ni simple. To everybody, their case is complex.
And important, more important than the next person's.
So how would you define a complex case? When a case comes before you, how do you see this one? Guys, let's simplify it. What's complex?
Okay, a complex one will be like there's several parties involved, several legal issues involved. So, for instance, you cannot take a case to do with aviation, even if it is below $1 million shillings, and bring to the small claims court.
Okay.
What shall we be dealing with? Sema tu huyu nilimpea 50,000. Angalia WhatsApp messages, ndio hii hata kaniambia atanilipa next week, hajalipa. Unakubali,
That's a simple case.
That's simple. So we keep it simple.
Okay. So, aviation. It's okay, let me leave that one.
Nilinunua tiketi ya ndege na wakaniacha.
Okay. You know, it goes into very complex
but
legal
for somebody,
issues.
that's such a pain point.
Right? Yeah. That's my money, or, you know,
35,000 for a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone all the way to $1 million, but I'm sorry to take you back. Is there a number that's too small?
There is no number that is too small. There is no number that's too small. I have a claim of 800 shillings. But, you know, at the end, you reason out with the litigants and ask them, how much will you spend to prosecute your case? Of course, those are at times we also have frivolous litigants who bring you such claims,
But why
but
are
you
you
have to do
laughing,
what you
Eric?
have to
Why
do.
is it frivolous, by the way, if it's 800 bob? Because it's my 800 bob. I want it back.
Those are issues we can deal locally,
Yeah.
you know, at the chief,
Yeah.
Budapale community.
Mediator.
Maybe nimejaribu hizo zote.
Yes.
Itawaze.
But we deal with them, we
You deal
don't
with them.
discriminate.
But your point is you'll spend so much pursuing that litigation
Yes.
over and above the 800.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
From your experience, what drives someone to bring a case such as that one to court?
That 800 shillings case. We have litigants who just want to come to court. We have litigants who want to prove a point to their nemesis. And as a judicial officer, you can read in between lines and be wise and assist them to solve the matter.
So the issue here hata si ile 800.
Si ile 800.
Ni vile unanitreat. Ile madhara uko nayo na pesa ni yangu. Pesa ni yangu si yangu Janet.
Na nikiona grudge na wewe.
Na uniongelesha hapa hivi nitakulipa.
Uniongelesha vibaya.
800 ni kitu ya kushinda.
Unaanza kuita pesa kidogo.
I had a feeling it was also to do with ntakusho. Yeah, so I'm not surprised that he's
that
saying
is
people go there to pass a message that huwezi kuniongelesha hivyo.
And
Twende
you know
kotini.
people fear our courts. Nitakupeleka kotini.
Basi.
It's a thing. I was looking at the average amount, the total settlements in 2023, 2024, 13.11 million shillings. So that tells me, unless it was fairly small claims, a lot of them are probably in the thousands and not even hundreds of thousands, right? What are the most common claims that come? You've said, you've spoken, of course, about people come for rent and then you have to send them away. But what are the most common claims?
Most common claims are just the simple debts. Nilimpea 200,000, tukaskizana after 3 months, atanirudishia, hajarudisha. And then the ones that fill our cost lists, like today I have a cost list of around 48. Microfinance, madeni. So we normally have most of them, Kenyans borrow money from these lending institutions, and most of it, I pity at 500,000. Those are the ones that come to our court most often.
All right. So what do they want? Is it the microfinances that are bringing people to court, or is it people that are bringing these microfinances?
The microfinances bringing people to court.
Interesting.
So that they can pay the debts.
Wow.
And mostly it's small amounts of money.
How do you compel them to pay as a court?
Now there is something we call execution. Once we have determined the matter, and you have an order, you're given a decree, and then you execute. To execute is to mean your property can be attached. Maybe umekataa kulipa 200,000, and you have some property. It can be attached through an auctioneer. Your salary can be attached. So that's how you execute.
But more often than not, people are able to access justice this way, right?
Yes, they are.
Despite that, what are some of the challenges that you still face, the ongoing challenges of small claims court?
The first one I had even mentioned earlier, it is we are understaffed. 73 adjudicators in the whole country. Definitely we are understaffed. In fact, there are stations like Milimani Small Claims Court, Thika, Nakuru, Eldoret, Ruiru. They are surely understaffed, but they're putting their best foot forward. That is one major challenge. Another challenge is that we don't have enough small claims court in Kenya, but through the efforts of our Honorable Chief Justice, she's trying to expand them. As I had mentioned earlier, only 33 counties have small claims court. These other 14 do not have small claims court. And for example, a county like Nyandarua, no small claim court. Nandi, Bomet, Baringo, Bungoma. These are vibrant counties. So that's another challenge. And then the last one I will mention is people are still not aware about the small claims court. Like at Dagoretti, we started work on 8th October 2024. But up to now, I only have 113 matters. 29 are active. So it means we still need awareness about small claims court. People are still filing in magistrates court matters that are small claims in nature. And then timelines. 60 days, still not possible.
Do you think it's too short?
It's too short.
Especially because of the staffing challenge.
Yes. But if that one is resolved, it will still be possible.
How much longer would you like it extended?
There have been several proposals, maybe 120 days.
No, that's a
20
long
days.
time.
Those are 4 months.
4 months.
4 months. That's reasonable.
It's better than 2 months.
It's better than 2 months.
At least it gives you a bit of time.
Yes.
Now, there are many people who are watching and listening, and they're wondering, Sawa, small claims. Anything about court, they think it's expensive. Small claims court. And how do I prosecute my case in that small claims court? You said I don't need a lawyer, but I can come alone, or I can come with somebody and I'm assigned to give them. Just walk us that. I have an issue. Let's say Mariam has an issue with somebody who owes her money. How does walk Mariam through taking me to court?
First, it is not mandatory that Mariam goes to court physically. The judiciary has adopted the e-filing system. So there are prescribed forms. You just download the prescribed forms, you fill in, and then you upload it on the e-filing system. But one, you'll have to have a profile with the judiciary. Then you'll fill in. It is very, very cheap. Filing claims, it's between 200 and 1,000 shillings, depending on the amount of money you are claiming for.
So that's one way is e-filing.
E-filing.
Is there an alternative?
Yes, there is an alternative. For example, those who have verbal claims, you go to court physically. An officer of the court will reduce your verbal claim into writing by filling in the form for you, and then it will be filed. And then, interestingly, all small claims are virtual. So you can decide to attend to the courts virtually rather than going there physically, so that you cut down on the costs and time.
So Mariam has then come to court. Kuna mtu amechukua statement, amejaza form, ametoa 200, right?
Yes.
Na amesema Erica kona 700. Now, then
you serve it upon the respondent. Huyo mtu mwenye umeshtaki anaitwa respondent. You serve it upon the respondent, and then after 15 days, the respondent should have put in a response. The response is also in a prescribed form. But at times we normally get responses. Mtu ameandika tu barua to the court. I wish to respond this way. We don't deny them. We assist them through officers of the court by filling in the prescribed form, and then later on we fix the matter for hearing. We try as much as possible not to have several mentions. Unaenda kotini unasikia mentions, you to do what mention. We try as much as possible to avoid mentions. We go to the gist. And then through in the hearing, it's not compulsory that we hear you. You can proceed via documents. Proceeding via documents means the court will just read what you've written and then render its judgment.
Right.
The court can even render judgment on that day. There are matters that are very simple. You don't need to take months to render a judgment.
So say Eric owes me 700, sawa. Eric anasema mi sina kumlipa. Can a person be insolvent? But yes.
He should go through another process to prove that he's insolvent.
Okay.
But in the small claims court, you also accept payment plans. Like Eric anakuja anasema, ndio niko na hiyo 700 yake, lakini sina sahi, neza mlipa in installments, nimpatie 200 kila mwezi. It's accepted, and that agreement will be put on paper as an order of the court.
What about if it's a corporate? It's not Eric, it's company X that owes me, and they say, you know what, we're technically bankrupt. We've wound down operations. Yes, is that now when we go the auction route, or?
Yes, now that goes to another process. You see, you bring in bankruptcy proceedings. So it now becomes complex for our small claims court.
For a small matter.
Yes. We are small in everything, even language. We even accept vernacular. Yes. You speak in a language that you understand.
The assumption is that when Mariam takes me to court, I'm going to accept that I owe her money. Are there cases where someone comes and says, Mimi?
Anakuruka kipete. Yesu, wako unashangaa.
Unashangaa, mimi. Pesa, huyu. Mimi hata yorona mimi usimjui hata.
Yes, watu urukana. But you know we are a court of evidence.
Yes.
Though we are not bound by strict rules of evidence. We just look at the different documents you've placed before court and your written statements, and we determine. Though there are also several yenye watu huwa wana admit. We call them judgment on admission. Mtu anakuja anasema, yes, niko na deni yake, lakini nipatieni time, you give in a judgment on admission.
Okay. So there are two cases. Yes, niko na deni yake, lakini yona mwambia ache kunitukana hivyo. Ananipigia simu saa 6 usiku akinitisha pesa. Are there such responses? Because here we are seeing two people who are fighting over other issues, but we are using the money, right?
Yes, we have such people, and mostly domestic problems. People bring in claims, but they are just under the surface. There is something else: domestic issues, land issues, na pia kuna tu grudge personal. So but we normally filter them out and deal with the gist, which is the claim.
Mambo ya pesa tumalizane, mambo ya nyumbani muende
mpeleke mali pengine
koti ya nyumbani.
Like kad mambo ya watoto peleka children's court.
I was also looking at the other scenario where it was a completely verbal arrangement, and there's nothing in writing. There's no message, but there's, I lent her money and she was to pay me back in 2 days, in 2 weeks. I've been knocking at her door, she refuses to open. I have nothing written. How do you then determine, how do I prove my case?
So a verbal agreement is also admissible in court. So you look at the circumstances. For example, but now you look at the respondent. Defense yake ni gani? What is he saying about it? Were you given the money? Alinipea lakini haikuwa this amount. How much was it? From there, you'll just know there was an agreement and it was verbal. And we normally enforce such agreements in court.
I'm sure there are very many people who would like to ask you a couple of questions, and we'll open the phone lines for them to ask you these questions in the next half hour. Honorable Casmir Obiero is a magistrate in the Small Claims Court, the youngest small claims court in the country. It's at Dagoretti. Where is it exactly?
Dagoretti, it is at Triruta. So we serve Dagoretti North and South constituencies, but we also have a magistrate's court there. So we not only serve small claims, we also do other including criminal matters.
Okay.
Yes.
Civil disputes between 1 shilling and 1 million shillings, you can go to the Small Claims Court, and that's what the magistrate is explaining to us. The process of it, it's simple. It's lodging with 200 shillings, and the law says it should be concluded within 60 days. In some cases, it may extend beyond 60 days. By and large, most of them are concluded within 60 days, right?
Most of them.
So it's a better way of actually resolving some of these issues. We'll be back shortly. You have a question, we'll post the phone lines, and so you can call us in. Or you can ask the question on X, on YouTube, or on Facebook.
That is a good one. And even as we continue the conversation, Tibbs Muge is saying, how does the court handle internal disputes? Scenario 1, Kenyan versus Kenyan. Scenario 2, Kenyan versus foreigner. Maybe they meant international disputes. Okay, that's a good one.
Kenyan versus foreigner.
As long as the course of action arose within Kenya, we deal with it.
Within Kenya. Okay.
I like that. Okay.
Nyakwarda anasema, Honorable Casmir, tutaanza kuleta our drama debtors to your court. Are there cases that come to the kazi hapa hii ni pure drama?
I know what he's talking about. There are these consultants who train drama. Yes. And you know, this is like a contract. You train a certain institution for this amount of money, as long as it is reduced into writing. You know, where an institution is concerned, you have to reduce it into writing.
Okay.
So such cases can also be solved.
So they have an issue with schools not paying them.
Yes.
So they went and trained. James Fondo, my question is kwa kesi ya labor law courts about ufanyikazi inatakikana ichukue muda gani? Na why mara ingine koti imegeuka mfanyikazi kwa malipo anakosa? So these are matters that go to the labor, employment court, and labor relations court.
Yes. How
long should a matter take there? Is there any fixing date? You know, in your court, 60 days as per the law. In the ELRC?
There is no fixed timeline. You know, it's a matter of case-to-case basis. No, those are complicated ones.
So it depends on the case?
It depends on the case.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what I asked during the break. nataka kurudi hapo kidogo.
Ingia.
If man and wife take each other to court over, I give him something 300,000, 200,000, 50K, whatever amount it was, is that within the jurisdiction of the small claims court?
Yes, it is, as long as it is it is a contract, it is maybe liability in tort, or it is loss of property or personal injury. It is. We have received several, as I was telling you, issues to do with love and affection.
Yeah.
Boyfriend, girlfriend bringing claims. Mimi nilimpea over Valentine's. Nilimnunulia microwave. And now ameniacha, nataka microwave yangu ama nirudishe hiyo pesa. We receive such cases, several of them. So issues to do with love and affection, we normally also filter them out and we look at, was it a contract? If it was not, if it was a matter to do with love and affection, no, you can't bring it to the small claims court.
Right.
How do you tell whether it was a contract or not?
From the
comes to
parties
court and says, nilinunua microwave nikampelekea. Okay? Sasa tumekosana, nataka nirudishie microwave yangu.
The issue is, was there an intention to create legal relationship between the two of you? If there was no intention from the first instance, that cannot be a valid agreement.
Let me
Your
put
Honor,
it
is there
simply.
an internationometer? How do you know? If I say, I was hoping that this relationship could
was
go
going
into
to grow into something serious.
But it was not a contract.
The intention for me, as I'm doing all these things, is I'm starting to furnish our house.
No. Guys, let me ask it very simply. Can you go to small claims court to take back a gift?
To take back a gift? No. Cannot take back a gift.
There you go.
Unless it's a contract.
Yes, unless you
But if
had
it's a
the
contract, it's no
intention
longer
of
a gift.
being legally bound.
Right? The minute it's a contract and it's this in exchange for this, then that's no longer a gift.
Unless we now consider a prenuptial version for relationships. I'm sorry to trigger some folks. You're dating me now, Sawa. As long as we're dating,
Right.
if I get you something and we break up,
I take it back.
I take it back. That would hold, right?
Yeah, that would hold.
Ah, yeah.
There are many
Paper trail,
cases
guys,
that
paper trail.
we've seen stories that have ended up,
Kyoto ni wa Troy.
in some
I'm
cases,
sorry.
tragically. But there are many cases that don't end up tragically. But cases where somebody says that they helped to educate, they were in a relationship with this person, and they paid their school fees because they believe that they're in a relationship. But there was no proper formalization of this relationship. So it didn't get into a formally registered marriage, but they were in a relationship. Kila mtu alikuwa anajua. Eric na Jano wako na kitu, Jano wako shule, Eric ana contributing kulipia Jano school fees. Jano anapata degree.
Missing.
Yeah.
Are you speaking from
I was going to be
experience?
like, I was going to be like the number of people right now who are like, hold up.
Wait,
That is not a pattern. But let's proceed with that kind of.
Yeah, that's not a contract. That's not a contract. You are assisting someone with different intentions. And we don't say that a court of law is not a court of emotions. Yes.
Your Honor, would you advise people? It's maybe considered almost, it's not, what's the word? I don't want to say it's an African, but is there basis now? Because people, it's becoming more complex. Would you advise people to, by and large, just have something in writing? Even though it may take away some of the sweetness from a situation, more and more do you feel like maybe let's consider having something written down?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, yes, because most of the time you do something with clean intentions, good intentions, but then later on, wanadamu ni wanadamu, wanakubadilika. So it is always right that we put down whatever we want to venture into. That's why the issues, for example, on land, you cannot enforce a land agreement if it's not in written. So it is good to document.
Yeah, and if documenting sounds extreme, how people to just protect themselves more? Is it just making sure there's some kind of paper trail? That gave the example of there's nothing written. I gave this person money and now it's gone. Would you then advise people to be like, at least send a text?
Yeah, send a text.
I gave you 500 shillings. You've not returned it. Or I give you 500 shillings. The person replies and says, nimepokea. That already is.
Actually, most of our claims are claims on WhatsApp. And we normally use those WhatsApp correspondence. to give our orders.
Yeah, how are you educating the public beyond platforms like this? Because I think a lot of people listening and hearing about small claims for the first time might be like, I can pursue it this way. But what measure are you taking to just educate the public more about what you do in small claims?
In the judiciary, we normally have the Judiciary Open Day. Different courts normally organize their open days where we have a conversation with the masses. In my court, we've also had public barazas. We normally tell people, we attend chief barazas, and we tell people about the small claims court. We also have flyers, and on social media also trying to engage them, telling them about small claims court. I'm sure we've not done enough, but we are still on the move.
Are there set dates for these barazas and open days? Do you normally have them?
Now, open days, we are normally given a month. So I don't know which month it will be this year. It's about the authorities giving out the month about the open days.
Okay.
But barazas, we do them anytime. Like at Dagoretti, we normally attend barazas on Fridays when chiefs tell us that we have a public baraza here. We go there and we tell them about the small claims court. We also collaborate with the SEC, Assistant County Commissioner, who tells us about the different cases he's getting in his office, and we educate them about it and help them to file the small claims court cases.
Fixer called Abura Ibrahim on Facebook says, I launched a case at the small claims court and finally given a warrant of attachment against the accused, but I'm suspecting the investigating officer conspired with the accused, and now I'm struggling to find justice. What can I do?
I talked about the accused. It borders on a criminal case. It talks about an investigating officer who is a police officer. Now, I don't know, criminal in nature, a warrant of attachment, or is it a warrant of arrest?
I do not know. Abura, you'll have to clarify that. In fact, you can just call us and maybe you ask that question directly so he can ask you to give a bit more detail. Because he says he lodged the case at the small claims court and he got a warrant of attachment.
Yes, a warrant of attachment. That one is in a civil claim.
Okay.
And you use auctioneers. Yes, you use auctioneers, or you can put an application in court. If that person has a salary, you can attach the salary. So that anakatwa mshahara ikikulipa direct.
Okay. We've got my fans wengi wanakuambia great job, Honorable Casmir Obiero. But there's just one here, James Katama, who says, if a court rules that you be compensated, how long should it take to receive the compensation?
Case-to-case basis. There are other cases that we give a 30-day stay of execution. Mtu ajipange within 30 days. Ama kama unataka kuappeal your decision, uappeal within those 30 days. And then after that, you are free anytime to file for execution. Execution ndio hiyo saa attachment.
We have a caller called Andrew on the line. Remember, 0719038858 is our number. But let's speak to Andrew. He has a question for Honorable Casmir. Good morning, Andrew.
Hello, how are you?
Well, what is your question?
My question is... Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I got a note in 2018, and on 2021, the magistrate caught him the money, ruled that I did pay the amount, the sum amount. Then up to now, the lawyer is telling me that the insurance has not paid because it is in financial crisis.
Okay.
So what can I do? And I can also say the lawyer, I only get the receptionist and tell you your money has not been paid because the insurance is undergoing financial crisis. And you cannot also press the vehicle.
Thank you.
What can I do?
All right, let's get you an answer.
Basically, that is to do with the insurance. It will be prudent if he walks to the insurance itself and ask about his matter. Where has it reached? He talks of 2018. That's a little more than 7 years.
I think the ruling
maybe he
was
should
made
just
in
walk in there.
2021.
Our court started in 2021. He should walk in there and confirm. At times there is always, there is a broken communication between an advocate and a client. He was talking about his advocate not being found. So maybe talk to the insurance directly, see where the problem is. And if there is a problem with the advocate, you can report the same to the Advocates Complaints Commission.
Sorry, I just want to get it right from Andrew. Andrew, is it your advocate or your car that hasn't been found? Oh, he's on. Okay, he dropped off the call. It's okay. So I'm sure we'll get back to him. But I also wanted to ask something about consumer protection and consumer protection matters in small claims court. I buy something, it's defective, it's fake, all that. Are those matters that can be adjudicated in small claims?
Yes, they can. We've received several, especially the online transactions. For example, you order for something. It reminds me, what you ordered and what
was delivered.
What was delivered. You order for something, as long as you can prove that it is not what you ordered for, and it is within our pecuniary jurisdiction, then that is a matter that we can adjudicate over.
Pecuniary jurisdiction. What is that?
Pecuniary, yeah.
Hiyo ni monetary.
Hey, sawa. What happens if a defendant can't be located? If the person just is MIA? Just goes missing.
Inakunywa maji. If you're not able to serve the person you are suing, then we've not heard the other side of the story. You cannot be given orders. And at the lapse of 60 days, that case will be dismissed.
But what if there's evidence, but now the person you try to, someone call them, mteja wa nambari, or they've just gone missing?
Koti itajuaje hujalipo?
Itajuaje.
That may be answering partly this question by Douglas Okioro, who says, mimi niko na shida. I bought someone machines worth 70,000 shillings for him to open a cyber. It's 2 months, but the guy has sold the machines and went into hiding. I reported to the police and his parents too, but there is no help until this moment. What can I do?
Now that goes, there is a criminal element in that, going into hiding. It's only the DCI that can assist him to track down that person. Should remember that the small claims court just deals with civil claims. When there is a criminal element, it's good that you pursue the criminal justice system.
Wait, did I miss the part where the difference between moving from a civil to a criminal and where that line is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Civil, in layman's language, mnadaiana tu nyinyi wawili. But criminal, it's like an offense against the state. Ukipiga mtu, that's an offense against the state. Ama uibie mtu, it's an offense against the state. But mimi nakudai 100 shillings, that's a civil claim. It's between the two of us or against a corporate. That's civil.
But in this case for Okioro, he says it's civil because lend somebody 70,000 shillings for them to start a business. Now it's been months, and this person, they're not able to locate the person. Okay, for them to get paid their money. So is there a criminal element here?
There's a criminal element of that person hiding. That's called obtaining by false pretense. Unanipea pesa, nasema nitakufanyia kitu fulani, alafu sifanye kitu napotea. That's obtaining. And once you obtain, that's a criminal. Yes. But huyo mtu akipatikana, bring him to the small claims court. It becomes civil.
Okay.
If we're in small claims court, can we move to criminal proceedings if things take a turn? Right.
Yes, and you can run concurrently a criminal case and a civil case. For example, reckless driving. You are driving, ukagonga mtu. The police will take you. That's criminal. But then there is a personal injury or material damage of the car. That is civil. You want compensation. That's civil.
Okay.
There are many cases where, people are scammed. You know, umechezwa. Like our guy Richie Kama on X is saying, I need to file a case. Someone just scammed me 100K. And we find very many cases where you're scammed in very many ways, right? Now, how do you tell whether there's a criminal issue here or it's a civil issue to bring to the small claims court? Hizo tu za ulikoniwa basically. Mtu alikupromise ati akikuzia itakuwa iko na gold ndani. Kanunua hata kukute kuna mafuta ya tanda.
You see, that is both civil and criminal.
Yeah.
Danganya mtu utamuzia, that's obtaining by false pretense. But at the same time, there is this amount of money you want to recover, and you cannot recover it through the criminal process. But in most cases that we face, hizi scam mostly ways zinakuwa na some illegality. For example, nipea 100k itakuingiza KDF. So you want your 100k back because haukuingia KDF. But you see, the whole transaction is illegal.
Okay, we have another call on the line. Jonte, who's it? Is it Moses? Okay. Jano,
Oh, Moses.
there are questions.
Okay, Moses Rabogi on YouTube. If you've been working in an organization for the last 5 years, you have pay slips, suddenly you're fired. Can you claim service for the years worked? This is
Yes,
asked
you
a
can.
lot. You can.
Yeah, you can, but you see, it falls under the Employment and Labor Relations Court.
It does.
But you can. You can.
Is there a place? Because I think I'm thinking about it from a practical perspective. I have an issue. I know I want to take someone to court. So I've not explored that. Maybe I've tried mediation. I've tried, everything
Nimeta
else.
was there.
Nimeta was there. Nothing is happening. But I don't know which specific court to go to. Where can I get guidance on that? How to know that my matter falls in employment court? It falls in small claims. Whichever family court, zote. Yeah.
You have two options. You can walk physically to a court, tell them about your issue. They will guide you where to file it. You can also call. There are several numbers, several contacts of the judiciary, different courts you can call. You can write an email. You will definitely be answered and told where to file that matter.
Okay. Is there a judiciary number, customer service number that you can just...
There are several. There are
Okay.
several. I've not mastered them.
Okay.
But if you go online, you can get them. You can get them and just call.
If I'm unhappy with the decision of the adjudicator in the small claims court, do I have recourse? Do I have an appeal mechanism?
Yes, you can appeal to the High Court. And the High Court's decision
So I
is
go
final.
straight to the High Court.
Yes. And the High Court's decision is final.
I can't go beyond that.
You can't go beyond that. Now,
You
that
want
is
a
the other
hearing
issue
at-
that there are proposals that after the High Court, you can go elsewhere. And you only go there on matters of law. Okay. So, taka Supreme Court is small claim. So there are proposals that you go, after the High Court, you can go to the Court of Appeal. For example, you have an issue with matters to do with rent. No, there are courts that feel after mumalizane na landlord, there is no relationship ya landlord-tenant. Deposit akurudishie. It can go to the small claims court. But other courts talk about, no, this is purely a rent issue.
Yeah.
If it quacks like a duck,
Walks like a duck, swims like a duck.
yes.
It goes to the rent tribunal.
Yes. So there are different decisions. So people feel we can go to the Court of Appeal to ski. But you see, the High Court is final.
As you wrap up, we talked about alternative dispute resolution. How many of your cases, for example, when you look at your entry, would you recommend that they be dealt with elsewhere by mediators? Yes, before we get to court.
Yes, several of them, and we normally talk to our litigants and tell them there are issues that you realize they're just family issues, and they can go at home, waite wazee, and they deal with them. There are contracts where there is a clause saying that in case of disagreement, we'll go to a mediator automatically, and then kwa mediator kwanza before you come to court. So we also promote alternative dispute resolution mechanisms.
Okay.
Your Honor, thank you very much for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
And for shedding light on all this. Again, if one has an issue and they'd like to lodge to the court, they can walk straight to a magistrate's court and they'll be assisted to lodge.
That is it.
The other one is if they can also go online.
Yes, they
Say
can
again,
do it
how do they do it virtually?
virtually. We have our virtual links, just after here, I'll be on virtually. You can go to your virtual link and we address. We have an open door policy. You can even come to the link just to say, kesi yangu ni ya tarehe fulani, unaweza niambia inakuja lini, and we'll assist you.
Okay. And again, to clarify that you said evidence admissible in court includes even text messages.
Yes, WhatsApp messages.
Use of
Electronic evidence.
Very good.
20 screenshots.
The Honorable Casmir Obiero, Magistrate at the Dagoretti Law Courts and the Small Claims Court, has been our guest, educating us about the small claims between 1 shilling and a million bob of civil nature. It's clear. Are the ones that you take there. Keep it here for more. In the next hour, we talk about electricity transmission, and we'll be joined by the MD of the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, KETRACO. Will be here with us. It's 8 a.m. Good morning.